Let's see how long this is going to be. Oh, it's recording. Sorry. Dang, that's a lot of wasted space. Okay. Welcome to today's bonus show. Benjamin Dixon here, hanging out with you. I am a huge science fiction fan. If you give me the choice between going out for a night on the town and watching a science fiction movie about space that I have not seen, I'm going to stay at home and watch that movie any day of the week. But there's an article from businessinsider.com that I want to talk to you about. Just kind of using our imagination. Of course, there's some political implications. We could talk about all the reasons we would need to leave planet Earth, climate change running amok, and us having the political or not having the political willpower to do what's necessary to salvage our own planet. We're going to need to leave our planet one day. So there's all sorts of things that we could talk about with political underpinnings. But to be honest with you, I just really kind of sort of want to talk about science fiction, want to talk about space, the final frontier, you know? So the article from Business Insider is physics have discovered that rotating black holes might serve as portals for hyperspace travel. Now, here's what's interesting about this, right? You have art imitating life or life imitating art. The standard notion for black holes or the standard belief with regard to black holes from the scientific community for years was that if you pass through or get close to the event horizon, you will be basically spaghettified. That's the prevailing notion. But if you watch Interstellar, the movie, they introduced another, and it probably came from some other movies, I don't know for sure, but the other notion that came from black holes was that there are certain types of black holes that you could pass through and not die and not be spaghettified or stretched into an infinitely long string as you get closer to this infinitely dense singularity at the center of a black hole. So the movie kind of just gave us this imaginary idea that you can pass through. And I guess to be fair, there were plenty of other movies that suggested that black holes could be a gateway to interstellar travel and, time travel. I know Star Trek, the reboot in 2009 or 2008 was exactly that. That's how Spock and the Vulcans got to this, and the Romulans for that matter, got to the previous time period. But anyway, I digress. There are plenty of movies that discussed it, but I like the way Interstellar handled it because they addressed the black hole specifically as a massive rotating black hole called gargantuan, right? So they set the premise up basically based on what you would need, what this article says you would need in order to pass through. Now, this topic would be fascinating. This would be so much better presented by someone who actually knows what the hell they're talking about and not from a science fiction perspective. But it just gives us the opportunity to dream, right? It gives us the opportunity to escape reality, the reality of the politics around us, to be able to imagine a place where simply all things that we understand are completely irrelevant, and the edge of discovery and the precipice of destruction and discovery. Maybe we'll pass through it. Maybe we could be successful, but more than likely we might actually die. Well, okay, so some of the high points from this article. Scientists thought that traveling to a black hole at one time, they thought it would kill you. But now physicists have run computer simulations to show that certain types of black holes, large rotating ones, could serve as portals to hyperspace travel. Now, the last part, they're really guesstimating. They're just postulating here. They're just taking a wild guess because they have no clue what happens if you pass through a black hole, a large rotating black hole. They're just saying that it's a possibility that you actually pass through. So the video breakdown of this actually just compared it to passing through a flame. If you put your hand in a flame and you leave it there, you burn. If you pass through at the right speed, it won't burn you. You'll barely feel it. That's what they're saying with the black hole. Some scientists believe that you'd arrive at a remote part of the Milky Way or perhaps another galaxy altogether. Sounds exciting, right? No, seriously. It's actually fascinating to me. One of the safest passageways might be the supermassive black hole at the center of our galaxy called Sagittarius A. Now, all of this is way beyond our lifetimes. None of us will be here to actually test any of these theories. Even in our biggest science fiction imaginations, traveling to the center of the galaxy is beyond our reach, even at warp speed. Star Trek. It's beyond our reach within any reasonable lifetime. But it really, I really like the underpinnings of all of our future technology, all of our future thinking about the universe happening right now, while we might be literally hundreds, if not thousands of years away from being able to realize it. Here we are in measly 2019 postulating that this could be possible, right? I mean, that's the nature of knowledge in general. The core of our knowledge can always be traced and rooted back to thoughts that began 1,000 years ago. But that really just says something to humanity, right? And I think that's what's so fascinating, honestly, about our imagination, about science fiction, and about space travel, right? I think it speaks to the best in our humanity, to be quite honest with you, right? When you watch Star Trek, or when you watch, well, not Star Wars, but when you watch Star Trek and other science fiction films, right? It's the level of humanity that is required, the level of progress that is required, the level of cooperation that is required to get to a certain place in human civilization where we can travel amongst the stars, right? It almost seems like that could be the greatest achievement that mankind would ever come up with, because of the level of achievement that is required, the level of cooperation, the level of political sophistication that is required for us to be able to obtain this level of technology and not destroy ourselves. There's a fascinating episode of the reboot of Twilight Zone, and it's premised on astronauts getting ready to take a trip to Mars. And as they get ready to take the trip to Mars, spoiler alert, if you're waiting to see Twilight Zone and you haven't seen it yet, stop the bonus show now. But to give you a chance. All right, if you're still here, you're not going to get mad with the spoilers. So as they're sitting on the launch pad, getting ready to take the trip to Mars, right? It was a culmination of hundreds and thousands of years of human civilization and knowledge. They're getting ready to pass through this test. And I forgot the name of the test, but basically suggesting that the ability of a civilization to get to another planet before they destroy themselves. Well, here these astronauts are on the launch pad, and as they get ready to take off, nuclear ballistic missiles are launched from North Korea, and then the United States returns in kind, basically the end of civilization on Earth. They make the decision to go ahead and launch, because if they don't launch, they stay on the launch pad, they're going to die. So they launch and they take their trip to Mars. The underlying premise of this really is the same thing that most science fiction geeks as well as writers, we think about, right? We think about having the ability to obtain enough technology to transcend the limitations of our humanity, particularly here on planet Earth. But as we obtain that level of technology, how do we not destroy ourselves, right? The more technology we get, the more probable it is that we are going to destroy ourselves, particularly when that technology can be transformed into weaponry. And we're already at the stage now where we do have the technology to destroy ourselves, but that's not the limitations of our technology. And we are always standing on the precipice of destruction versus discovery. Wow. I liked how that tied back in. I said that earlier. We're literally always standing on the precipice of destruction versus discovery. And if it's not destruction from some force, some galactic force like a black hole, it's self-destruction. And just on the other side of that black hole, or our destruction, is some fascinating discovery. And in the case of our own self-destruction, it's really 100% dependent on our ability to overcome our political pettiness, our divisions, and to appeal to our greater humanity so that we have the ability to transcend our limitations here on Earth. Wow. Actually, I want to rewind and watch this, because a lot of times I just run my mouth, honestly. But I think I actually said something meaningful there. You be the judge. Thanks for hanging out. I'll have more than one story for the bonus show tomorrow. But yeah, I'm going to rewind that and watch that myself. Take care, everyone. See you tomorrow.